Welcome, everybody. This is Universal Truth of Mankind. I am Dave, your host, and this is Kabbalah 101. Now, I've talked about the ego in the past, and the ego we're going to be talking about for the rest of our lives. But I wanted to touch on this because I recently had an interesting question, just adjusting myself, about the ego. I was asked, should the ego be annulled, and how do I do this? The ego is not to be annulled. That may be a very perplexing response because we are taught the ego is bad, evil, needs to be squashed, needs to be removed. That simply is not true. The ego is how we define ourselves. In other words, I'm Dave. Without the ego, I wouldn't be Dave. Without the ego, my wife wouldn't be my wife. Without the ego, you people who are in here wouldn't be who you are. We need the ego. Yes, I did say that. But the ego is typically out of control. That's the issue. And this is the typical American response as we have. Oh, if you can't control it or it's out of control, then we remove it. We just get rid of it. That's not the proper response with the ego. The ego, without the ego, we wouldn't have roads. We wouldn't have buildings. We wouldn't have the technology we have. We wouldn't have specialists. We wouldn't have professions. So you see, we need that. We need the ego, but it's the controlling the ego. I'm going to give you an example. My one daughter is an equestrian. She's almost like a horse whisperer. It's amazing how she keys in. She knows what's happening with the horse. And I've seen her train horses, turn them into fine whatever she's training them for. And I realized the horse is like an ego. The horse is out of control. It needs to be tamed down before it can be ridden. And then once it's ridden, then you need a competent rider to draw out everything that horse can do. So you need a cooperation between a horse, a trained horse, and the rider. I'll give you another example. I train my own dogs. I have gone to a trainer, wonderful, wonderful trainer. And the trainer has taught me a lot of things, but the trainer one day said, okay, class, I have a question for all of you. What do you think of training your dog? How's it been going? What's your feelings on it? And so me being the did-it type, raised my hand. Okay, so you tell us. I said, well, this is what I learned, the most profound thing. To train my dog requires me to change myself, to train myself. We're a team. It's not me training the dog. It's me training both of us. So we work together. She was so elated. Couldn't believe that somebody actually got it. You have to train yourself as well. So we have to train our ego, but we also have to train ourselves to handle the ego. And then we can have the ego as being part of us to preserve us. I mean, without the ego, if someone wanted to shoot me, I wouldn't defend myself. I wouldn't care. I'd probably die early in life because I wouldn't care whether I was healthy or not. I wouldn't care to live. I have a lot of things that have happened in my life that could easily snuff me out. But because of my ego, I fight to live. I fight to live. Any ailment I have, I fight it. I find naturopathic ways to fight it. Yes, if I need a regular doctor, that's a decision I have to make. Do so. I'm all right with that too. But I've learned that I can't, that I have to figure things out for myself. So my ego is feeding my passion, my push to find answers. You see how I've turned into a good thing versus a bad thing? Now, in the future, I'm going to do a meditation 101. I'm going to explain more about how the ego, not yet, it's going to be a little further on, how the ego interferes with your meditation and with certain aspects of your meditation. But anyway, I just want to share this. And there's one word. Recently, we just had the 4th of July, and we keep shouting independence, 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 independence. Ego loves independence. But if you want to really have true, bring the ego to its true full capacity, you need something called interdependence. Interdependence is what pulls us all together. And yes, interdependence also requires love. I mean, we can keep going on this, but we have to have a strong interdependence so we act like a team. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. Shalom, shalom.